Hello YouTube, this is RedRyanSox. I'm back with another 8-4 draft, so yeah, the queue looks like it's about ready to fire, and let's get started here. When I open a draft in this format, I'm looking to probably be in red, but I'm really open to basically whatever except green. This pack isn't very exciting. We have a preeminent captain, which is okay, it's just basically a 2/2 first strike. We've also got Nimbus of the Isles. It's a decent blue card. Really, nothing is sticking out here at all. A very unimpressive pack. I think I'm going to go with the Nimbus of the Isles. It's just kind of a solid card. Usually I'd be looking to pick that up more around 5th pick or something, but I'm pretty happy to be in blue. So I think I'm going to take this, but then we'll really stay open to whatever comes. We can definitely abandon the blue if more powerful cards come our way. Looks like a powerful blue card has come our way, though. Stormtide Leviathan. I've heard really good things about this card in this format. It is 8 mana, which is, incredibly difficult to cast, but if you do resolve it, this card essentially wins the game. It is basically unstoppable. It blanks all of your opponent's ground creatures, and it finishes them off pretty quickly, so I think we're going to take that. Other notable cards in the pack: Devouring Light, Accursed Spirit, Heliod's Pilgrim, Borderland Marauder. All of those are pretty solid, but I think we're just going to stick with the blue plan here and take this Stormtide. From what other people have said, it seems to be kind of a bomb in this format. Okay, here I see some building blocks for kind of a blue-black control deck, so I'm probably going to look to be going into that. We have a Gravedigger. I think I'm going to take that. It seems like the strongest card. I'm really not interested in the Ancient Silverback, even though it's a good card on its own. Green has just been very slow for me in this format. Covenant of Blood and Sign in Blood are both good cards, but I think Gravedigger is just slightly more powerful. Crowd's Favor, Kinsvale Skirmisher are both good too, but I really like the blue-black control deck, especially with the start we have here, so I'm going to go with the Gravedigger. Let's see what we have next. We have a Wall of Frost, which is really great in a blue-black control deck like the one we're trying to build here. We could also, abandon the Gravedigger, and we still have 3 really good blue cards. So, if a Lightning Strike comes our way or something like that, we might go into blue-red. I'm just going to pick up this Wall of Frost here. Crippling Blight is a solid card that might also wheel, although this pack is pretty weak, so I'm not sure that that's going to happen. But we'll take the Wall of Frost here, see what comes our way next. We look to have a pretty nice curve going on right now. So yeah, like I said, we could Digger. It looks like we're stalling out a little bit. The clock doesn't seem to be ticking down. I hope we'll be patient as I wait for this to kind of load. I hope we won't miss a pick. It shouldn't happen, but it's definitely a possibility. I'm running this on a Mac, and Windows can be sometimes slow in running the program. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the start to our deck. Let's see what else comes our way. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Okay, looks like it automatically picked for us. That's rather unfortunate. Won't let me get over here. We got an Encrust, which is fine. It's actually probably good. I wanted that Jace's Ingenuity that you might have seen, but okay, this is starting to get kind of annoying. Here we go. We're back. We get a Coral Barrier here. It's a pretty nice pickup. Probably a Bronze Sable I like. We're really, still not committed to black. I haven't seen many signals for another color. Bronze Sable is good because it can block Intimidators and stuff that black sometimes has trouble with. Pick up another Coral Barrier. Blue seems to be very open. And we're just basically going to be the Stormtide Leviathan deck here. Green seems to be pretty open, but I'm just not interested. Research Assistant is a good 2-drop that can block. And I guess I will take a Satyr Wayfinder here just because, it's pretty good in blue-green with the bounce kind of theme. I'll take a Sign in Blood, actually. We'll probably still stick to blue-black. Wall of Limbs, usually pretty bad, but, just in case. Radiant Fountain can be good out of the sideboard against aggressive decks. I would never really consider main decking it unless I was monocolor. Although this deck could be monocolor based on just how pack 1 went. If we pick up enough Mind Sculpts, we might even want to go for that. If our deck turns out to be incredibly controlling and defensive and we pick up, say, 5 or 6 Mind Sculpts, that could potentially be a plan, although I really think that if you don't have, a very significant amount of Mind Sculpts, it's just unplayable. So, I don't want to be saying that it's a good card objectively, but in certain scenarios it can be. I think we're going to pick up an Into the Void here. The Phyrexian Revoker can be powerful. It's basically just a Bronze Sable that turns some stuff off in this format. A surprising amount of stuff, actually. The Paragons, just in this pack there's a decent amount. But yeah, we're just going to take Into the Void. It's a very solid tempo play. Even out of a control deck, it can kind of keep you alive. And if they put, auras on their guys or something like that, we can always come back. Just going to take another Into the Void here. Avacyn is definitely very good, and we could move into white for that, but it doesn't look like white has been particularly open yet, so I think I'm just going to stick to my blue and see where that takes us. Plus Avacyn is triple white, so that would really commit us, and I just have a feeling that we're not going to end up playing it if we take it there. There's another Research Assistant and Appeal from Reality. I think I'm going to take the Peel just because we want some answers to our opponent's stuff, and we have double Chloral Barrier, which is very nice with that. I'm looking for some Divinations here just to make sure that we can hit our land drops while we are controlling the board. Probably going to take this Lightning Strike here. It's a pretty strong signal that red could be open, and it's pretty splashable otherwise. Another option would be Appeal from Reality or a Research Assistant, or a Child of Night, if we're considering being blue-black. But I think we might just want to be blue splashing a few cards, like the Gravedigger and the Lightning Strike, something like that. So yeah, I'm going to take the Lightning Strike here. It feels like kind of a late Lightning Strike, so we're going to see how that turns out, whether red is open or not. Here we've got a blue Paragon, which we do have a decent amount of blue creatures. That could be a consideration. We've also got a Rummaging Goblin in red. I'm really just ignoring the white cards, even though it does seem to be pretty open. I think we've kind of missed the boat there. There's a Witch's Familiar too. That's pretty powerful. How many blue creatures do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to count the Leviathan because that's not relevant. 5. Yeah, I just haven't been very impressed with the Paragons. I think I'm going to take the Witch's Familiar here. Just kind of stick to our blue-black control plan. Rummaging Goblin hasn't been super impressive for me. And we have a Carrion Crow, which is a very solid pickup here. We're just going to be kind of a blue-black control-ish tempo deck. Into the Void is very good in decks like this. I'm going to hide the Encrust, or move it to the sideboard for now, just because it's not my favorite card. And I would rather not be running it. I've found that there are a lot of answers for Encrusts in this format. I'm going to take Mind Rot for the sideboard against other grindy decks like ours. But yeah, I think we're pretty well positioned here. We have the Stormtide Leviathan, which is pretty balmy if you can survive to cast it. Divination is a great pickup here. It really helps smooth out our draws and kind of give us some power going into the late game. So I'm really happy about that, because with Stormtide Leviathan, you need to make your land drops and have enough cards to either draw the Leviathan or be able to defend yourself long enough to cast him. Here I'm going to take the Phyrexian Revoker. Like I said, it's a pretty good blocker that has some minor upside. If your opponent has like a Research Assistant or something and the game's going late. Here, I guess we'll take Military Intelligence in case our deck turns out to be more aggressive than it's looking to be right now. Statute of Denial seems fine out of the board against slower decks. Just take this Overwhelm because it could potentially come back to bite us later. I'll take Necrobite here. Might be a decent main deck card. I am not a huge fan of it, but we'll see. So we've got 17 playables right now. If we don't pick up an Evolving Wilds, I don't think we'll really be able to play the Lightning Strike. But that's okay. 16 playables is fine. After 2 packs, we should be able to fill out the rest of our deck pretty nicely in pack 3. Okay, so we've got a Heat Ray, which is another splashable red card, a Wall of Frost. I think I'm just going to take the Wall of Frost. It's just very powerful in a defensive deck that has inevitability in the long game, which we definitely do with this Stormtide. The heat ray would be a consideration, especially if we had another Evolving Wilds, but we really don't have any fixing right now, so I'm just going to go with the Wall of Frost. It's kind of the safer pick. We've got a lot of defensive cards, double Wall of Frost, double Coral Barrier. So I'm looking to pick up some more late game stuff, you know, like card draw, maybe some 2-drops just to kind of fill out our defense early so that we don't start on turn 3 with a barrier or a Wall of Frost. Accursed Spirit definitely counts as a late game card. It definitely can close out games when we're blocking on the ground with Wall of Frost and Coral Barrier, so I'm going to take that. There wasn't really much else in the pack for us anyway. Here, the Divination is very good. There's also the Yavimaya Coast, which I might just have to money draft here. I'm going to check the price on it real quick. Divination is definitely very good in our deck, but it's Magic Online to kind of keep your finances under consideration. I'm just, for the sake of the video, and also I think it is a very important card to have in our deck, what with how defensive we're being. The coast is only like $1.50, I think, so it shouldn't be too much of a concern. I might come back to regret that later, though. We'll see. I think the Divination should be very powerful in our deck, though. Oh, so we've got an Evolving Wilds, which would help us splash the Lightning Strike, but we've also got 2 incredibly powerful blue cards here with Illusory Angel and Coral Barrier. I'm going to take the Angel, I think. We have Coral Barrier already, and the Angel, although technically a 3-drop, isn't really a 3-drop. It's more of a late-game card that can be really powerful and help close out games if we don't draw our Leviathan or something like that. Here, I guess I'll take another Gravedigger. It's a very powerful card. There's also the Peel from Reality, Typhoid Rats, or Welkin turn, but I think Gravedigger is just powerful enough to warrant taking here. This deck can really grind with double Divination, double Gravedigger, so I'm happy about that. Take another Nimbus of the Isles. Provide some flying beats while we block with our Walls of Frost. We might end up cutting the Lightning Strike if we don't pick up an Evolving Wilds pretty soon. But that should be fine. I think our deck is solid anyway. Yeah, we have Amphin Path Mage, which I'll probably take here. Kind of in the same vein of like an Accursed Spirit, something like that. Can close out the late game when we're blocking with stuff. I don't know if I'll main deck it, but there's a lot of green going around. I'm not really concerned though, like I've said. That said, I think I'll just hate this Feral Incarnation because it's a powerful card. And there wasn't much else for us in that pack. Take the Aeronaut Tinkerer, decent blocker. We do have Sable and Revoker, so having artifacts in this format, you know, can be relevant too. I'm just gonna take, I guess I'll take Soulmender to not get beat by the Soulmender into Pridemate combo. That's always annoying in this format. I'm gonna move this strike to the sideboard just because we don't have the fixing. Crippling Blight is pretty good. Not as good as it can be in an aggressive deck, but we might run it. We'll see. We can also bring it in against decks that have a lot of 1-toughness creatures. Take Ranger's Guile here. We have some decent removal, like Into the Void. Take Scrapyard Mongrel. It's a pretty powerful card, so I'd rather not play against it. And this Plummet we will definitely take because it's pretty good against our deck. So glad that got to us and nobody took it. So yeah, we have 1 cut to make here, it looks like. We do have a lot of 3-drops, so I'm thinking about cutting the Witch's Familiar. We're only really splashing black, so the Sign in Blood could be a consideration to cut. That said, I don't think it's necessarily gonna work incredibly well with our mana to just cut the Sign in Blood because we'll still have to run a decent amount of black sources. So I think we still want the Sign in Blood just for the card advantage. Yeah, because we have so many 3-drops, I think I'm gonna cut Witch's Familiar here. The Aeronaut Tinkerer is just basically strictly better. That would be my second cut, I think. This deck could want 18 lands, actually, which is definitely a consideration. Yeah, you know what? I think this deck does want 18 lands. The question is whether we are aggressive enough to be able to take advantage of Crippling Blight, or if we're really just incredibly controlling. It's pretty tough. I think we can afford to cut Crippling Blight here, just because we do have double Wall of Frost, double Coral Barrier, 2 divinations, a sign in blood, 2 gravediggers. We're really just not aggressive enough. What we really want to do is establish our blockers on the ground and then resolve a flyer or a Stormtide Leviathan to finish in the air. So we're going to see what they suggest with the lands. I think 18 is pretty good with this deck. I don't want to run the Radiant Fountain. I tend to want to go more even in terms of my lands, especially because, you know, we have a Sign in Blood. So I'm going to go 11 and 7. Might even want 10-8, just because 10 is definitely enough sources of one color. Yeah, I think I'm going to go 10 and 8 here. 10 sources should be fine for our blue cards. We do have double Wall of Frost, but I think we should be able to hit those fine. So yeah, this is the deck. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't think it's amazing. We only really have 1 bomb, and it's an 8-drop, so it's not, you know, it's not necessarily the type of really efficient bomb that can just win a bunch of games for you. But yeah, overall we have a lot of card advantage. We have good blockers, so I think this should be pretty good. Like we discussed in the previous video, just go look at the description and click ahead to where round 1 starts, because there won't be any commentary from here until then. So yeah, I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, hello everybody and welcome to round 1. We've lost the die roll, but that should be fine. Our deck seems decent actually going on the draw, but we'll see if his deck is very aggressive and really wants to play. Hopefully we should be able to stem any early aggression. That's really our plan. Our opponent's taking a little while to decide. Oh, looks like we've been able to start here. This looks like a fine hand. We've got some late game action with the Research Assistant and definitely enough early defenses that we should be okay. We don't have black mana, but yeah, there it is, see? We should be fine. Really, most of our deck is blue, so, you know, hands without black mana shouldn't be too much of a concern. You know, I'm perfectly comfortable keeping hands like this. Let's play the Research Assistant. Probably play the Coral Barrier next turn just so that we can start attacking for one with that squid token. He's blue-white, so he could have some flyers. That might be a little bit scary. Blue-white-red, that's interesting. He's probably splashing for like a lightning strike or something. There's a Gargoyle Sentinel, doesn't really give us a clue on his colors yet. This is our turn. So with the Sentinel, yeah, I think we're still fine playing the Coral Barrier. If he uses his turn to attack with the Sentinel, we're totally fine with that. And yeah, our plan is basically just to beat down with evasion after having 2 walls of frost on the ground this game. How we're going to win. We can also always draw Stormtide Leviathan in the late game. Sorry, that's a dog that's staying with us. Let me just go close the window so that it won't be too loud. Okay, we're back and it's our turn. We've got 4 lands. Looks like the best play is just the Wall of Frost. We can follow up our Nimbus of the Isles with a Revoker on the Gargoyle Sentinel, which won't let him activate to block our wall, so that should be pretty nice. And really, the only concern here is him attacking us in the air. We've just got such great ground defenses that it won't be a concern for a long time. He's stuck on 3 lands, that's pretty good. There's a Rummaging Goblin, so that might help him get out of being stuck. This Into the Void could be a pretty big tempo play here, but I think we just want to save it and play our Nimbus of the Isles. The Into the Void can also be almost as useful later, so I really don't think it's worth using now. And we'll attack for 1 with our Squid. Plinking away with that should work pretty well. Let's see what he does here. He's probably going to start by rummaging. That would be my guess, trying to dig for some lands if he hasn't drawn any already. Dauntless River Marshal, so that's a pretty good card. We might want to revoke that instead, just because the Sentinel is going to really tie up his mana if he wants to use it. We can also revoke the Rummaging Goblin, but I just think that the River Marshal is going to be more important going into the late stages of the game. Because we're blue, we don't have ways to directly remove creatures, so we kind of have to rely on our ground blockers, so creatures with activated abilities are going to be a little bit more of a problem. I think we want a Divination here, just get some more cards, and we can still play our Revoker. It doesn't target, right, so I don't have to click on myself. Get to play a land here. We have 3 mana, so we could play a Wall of Frost, but I would probably rather just put out our Revoker. We're going to attack for 4 right now. And the question is whether we want to revoke the Rummaging Goblin or the Dauntless River Marshal. Our opponent has 3 cards in hand. The Rummaging Goblin doesn't really give card advantage, and it seems like our opponent wants both action and lands, which the Rummaging Goblin really can't answer. So I think I'm going to play the Revoker, just because the River Marshal can be a very powerful card in the late game. So yeah, let's see how this works. Dauntless. No. D. A. No. D. I guess we just have to scroll down. That's kind of annoying. At least we're on a DA. Dauntless River Marshal. Not Deathy Crusher. Okay. This should be good. And yeah, we're just gonna pass here. Bluff some Ulcerate. See if that works. I don't know what he would do to play around it, but we're in a pretty commanding position here, I think. Our opponent has 4 cards in hand, we have 3, but he's on 4 lands and we have plenty of lands, which is we really have more cards than him, in a sense. It's probably a Lightning Strike on our Nimbus. That would make sense. Inferno Fist on the Sentinel, sure. He can't activate it this turn, so we might just want to bounce the Sentinel, really put him behind on tempo. And we don't have anything to Gravedigger yet, which is kind of interesting. Let's see what we draw. Oh, Cursed Spirit, that's a pretty solid card. I think we do want to bounce the Sentinel first, though, just because it makes him replay it, and he loses the Inferno Fist, which could hit our Revoker or something like that. So yeah, let's bounce the Sentinel and his Rummaging Goblin, just to set him the most behind on tempo that we can. And we're just attacking for 4 every turn. Looks like he has an answer. Negate? Heal from Reality? Something like that. Heal from Reality, yeah. More commonly played than Negate. Okay, so he's going to bounce his Sentinel and our Squid, so that gets rid of the Squid, but we still get to attack for 3 here. He's going to Rummage too. Should be giving him some pretty good value. He could discard the Sentinel, but I don't really see a reason for him to. He can block our Nimbus, and unbeknownst to him, it can also block the Accursed Spirit, but we'll see. Yeah, he discards it, so he might have some pretty strong cards in hand. Rummaging Goblin gets returned. We're going to yield and attack for 3. Let's click through instead of yielding here. Just seems more correct. Okay, so he's got an Encrust. That's fine. Really, we're fine to play the answer game because we have a lot of card advantage and a Stormtide Leviathan in our deck. Okay, so we have a Illusory Angel here. We can play that and the Wall of Frost, which I think is probably correct. So let's go with this plan. Another Wall of Frost basically ensures that he can't attack on the ground for the rest of this game. It's just so hard to get through double Wall of Frost. And yeah, we're done for the turn. Important to note that we can start activating our Research Assistant if we run out of cards. Still nothing to Gravedigger, so we might want to do that. We can discard a card with the Research and Gravedigger it back, something like that. So our opponent looks to be base blue, basically playing white and red cards, not really splashing either one. Inferno Fist and Dauntless River Marshal are both not really splash cards. If I had to guess, I would say he's probably more blue-red, just because Inferno Fist is less likely to splash than Dauntless. But he's probably just 3-color base blue, which is interesting. He's probably the only other blue drafter at the table because we just got so many blue cards. So after this round, we're probably not going to be facing any more blue spells. But you know, I could also be wrong. There could have been a lot of blue in the draft. Let's see what he does here. Paragon. Okay, so that just makes his ground creatures bigger. Not really a concern for us. He can give them flying, though, which is pretty important. How much is that activation? Just blue. Okay. So we might want to leave our guys back, although we are racing pretty effectively here, so I don't think it's really necessary. So let's attack with our Angel. He can only have 1 creature be flying each turn, so the Frost Lynx is not big enough to block our Angel, so that's important to know. And this Accursed Spirit should be getting through nicely. He's at 8. We're really going to be able to tempo him out here, I think. Just have a huge board developed. It's always a good sign. Not a single one of our cards on board has gone to the graveyard this game, which is kind of interesting. He's got the Rummaging Goblin that we bounced. That's totally fine. Let's see if he has a follow-up play. If he doesn't, that's pretty good for us. He could also give him one of his guys flying, but yeah, he's just losing the race there. So we've got an island. I think we want to loot here before combat just to see what we could hit. So yeah, we'll discard the island, play the swamp. I think we really want to play our lands in this deck. We just have so many divination effects. And yeah, let's go to combat and attack with our Angel and our Accursed Spirit. He's going to probably chump with his Research Assistant, something like that. Yeah, makes some sense. We're just putting him under a lot of pressure, and he can't really attack us back this game. Pretty simple. So he looks to be basically 3-color, which is fine. It's good for us because it means his mana is probably a little more inconsistent. That's a Resolute Archangel. That could be a problem. He goes back to 20. Kind of all of our pressure has disappeared now. But we can still trade it with the Illusory Angel and just you know, keep working. We can Gravedigger back the Illusory Angel. That's always a good play. And we draw a Leviathan. We have 7 mana, so we can't quite cast it yet. It also still allows the Archangel to attack, and whatever he gives flying with Paragon. So it's not like Leviathan really shuts his deck down. He's blue-white. It shuts other decks down, but so yeah, I think we're gonna start this turn by attacking with both Angel and Accursed Spirit. He's probably gonna want to trade off, just because we would be so far ahead in the race if he didn't. But if he doesn't, then I'm not totally sure. We'll see. Yeah, so he's trading off. Then we get to go Gravedigger plus Illusory Angel, and that should be a pretty backbreaking play. It's our only creature in our graveyard. Yes, we do want to use the ability. Our deck's working pretty well here. We've even got the Stormtide for backup if things go wrong. The Archangel is definitely a concern for future games. We might want to bring in a counterspell or something if we have one in the board. Let's see if we do. Yeah, so we have the Statute of Denial. I'm not sure if we want to bring it in just because his deck can be pretty aggressive. The problem is our deck really can't answer things except by bouncing them. And bouncing a Resolute Archangel does not seem like a great path to victory. I think I'm going to take out a 4-drop Amphin Path Mage and put in the Statute of Denial. Should be a good answer to his threats. The Statute of Denial is also pretty good in our deck just with our Walls of Frost and our Coral Barriers and stuff. If we go into the late game, which we are primed to do, it should be a pretty strong card. This hand on the draw looks like a keep for me. The Leviathan is kind of blank, but we do have a good blocker, a Divination to draw into more lands, and a Carrion Crow. So I think we're fine. If we just draw one more land, we should be good. And we have stuff to block in the meantime. Feel from reality, not the best here. No Coral Barrier or anything for us to get value out of, but it's still okay. It can definitely answer some threats pretty nicely. Our opponent looks to be having kind of a slow start out of his 3-color deck. We just really need to draw a land next turn. That's the big concern for us. If we do, we should be fine though. We can also play around a little bit with Peel from Reality. Yeah, Gargoyle Sentinel is not an extremely aggressive card, so that's good for us. And we did draw a land. That's good too. The question is whether we want a Divination or Carrion Crow here. I think we just want a Divination, just make sure that we hit our land drops. You really just want to, if you have Stormtide Leviathan in hand, obviously you want to be hitting land drops. We're good with attacking. Not that dumb. And yeah, we'll pass, see if he can make a big threat that we kind of need to answer. Yeah, this hand is just very good if we can continue hitting our land drops, and Divination should allow us to do that. That's really our plan. The one weakness this hand has is a threat that's tough to deal with bounce or blocking. So, you know, that could be a concern. He's just activating the Sentinel. That's totally fine. We're basically taking 3 damage to make him skip his turn, which is a pretty sweet deal for us. Yep, and we keep hitting land drops. That's also very good. I think I'm going to play Coral Barrier here. It sets up the play of Peel from Reality plus Coral Barrier next turn. Just gives us more options generally, and the 1/1 can start attacking, so that's always good to start putting the pressure on. Should have left up Pulse right there, I think. That was a mistake. We'll attack him back, and we'll pass. I'm guessing our opponent has some kind of big 5-drop here, otherwise he wouldn't really have kept the hand. Just because he doesn't have anything to play on 4, that's why he attacked us with the Sentinel. And the Sentinel would be pretty well set up to block for him to cast his big 5-drop. So I think that's where his hand is headed. Hopefully it's something we can answer. Frostlinks, that seems fine to me. We're just really well set up to be blocking his stuff. He's tapping our Bronze Sable, not a big concern. Void Snare, our Squid, sure. That gets rid of it, but he's using a card to do that. I'm really fine with that. So here, I think we want a Divination just to kind of hit into more action. We could also Carrion Crow and Peel, or we could just slam our Nimbus of the Isles. Yeah, I think saving Divination for later, after we've developed our board, is actually better. So I think I'm just going to slam the Nimbus. Gives us more options for the next turns with keeping cheaper spells in our hand and getting our big drops down. Yep, and we'll just yield here. Coral Barrier blocking the Frostlinks all day. Our life total is still pretty high, so I'm not too worried. I'm wondering why he kept his hand, if it just had lands and spells, or if there was some big incentive for it. He could be playing Avacyn, although I doubt it in such a 3-color deck. Yeah, there's the incentive for keeping his hand. We'll see how that goes. He's pumping his Frostlink, so it's got First Strike, Lifelink, and Vigilance. We can just take that, and really we're going to be trying to answer the Ajani here, which I think we'll be able to do with our Peel from Reality. It looks like he might have a Peel from Reality of his own. That would be pretty devastating for us, actually, but we're just going to have to accept it if he does. Okay, so we've got an Illusory Angel. I think what I want to do here is peel the Coral Barrier and the Gargoyle Sentinel. Try to make a trade with the Bronze Sable. I'm guessing he has Peel from Reality, but if he doesn't, we're very well set up, because we'll be able to play the Illusory Angel post-combat, and that's a tough card for him to answer. So yeah, he's likely going to peel with his Sentinel and our Nimbus here. He doesn't have it. That's good. He also might want to peel his Frostlinks. We'll see. Block with the Frostlinks, peel it in Nimbus. That seems fine too. So yeah, let's attack Ajani with both. Peel from Reality is still pretty good here from him. Yeah, it looks like he's going for that play that I mentioned. Yep. So Johnny doesn't take anything this turn, but we're still going to be pretty well set up to attack him next turn. Yeah, let's just play the Illusory Angel while we can. Get it down. And then we'll see how things progress from here. He really needs to spend some resources protecting Ajani, so hopefully he doesn't have a flyer. Oh right, yeah, he has the Frostlinks to tap down our Angel. So yeah, Ajani could be a concern here. Hopefully it doesn't wreck us too hard. We can get a Coral Barrier down to start attacking him for one every turn. That should be pretty strong. I think our plan next turn is to play Coral Barrier and Carrion Crow and just try to put as much pressure on Ajani as we possibly can. Because if we kill Ajani, we really have the late game locked up in this game. I don't know what our opponent could be thinking about. Maybe a Void Snare. Yeah, Johnny goes to 6. That's fine. So yeah, we're hitting our land drops, which is good still. We have 7 mana, so we can't cast Nimbus plus another spell. I think we're just going to go Coral Barrier plus Crow, just like we said. And we will see if we can hit a Johnny down pretty hard the turn after this. Our opponent has spent a lot of resources protecting a Johnny, and if he doesn't get to go ultimate, then we should be fine. -7 is the ultimate, so that could happen. We can still win through an ultimate, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. I really want to make sure that a Johnny does not go ultimate here. We should also remember that a Johnny has a minus ability, but I don't think that's going to be too relevant this game. If we draw something like an Into the Void too, that will also be very strong. Be able to really maybe even kill a Johnny next turn, we'll see. We might want to chump with our Coral Barrier here just to make sure we don't get too low on life. His life total is not a big concern, but ours is. This is an interesting decision. I think I do want to chump with the Coral Barrier just because we want to make sure that we have enough life and it's not attacking a Johnny, so I think that's the most damage the barrier will probably suck up this game. Because we're so close to resolving Stormtide Leviathan. Let's see what this is, if it can protect a Johnny well enough. It does not look like it, although it does set him up pretty well for going into the late game. But I think we still have that locked down pretty well. So I'm just hoping we can get at a Johnny here, and then we should be fine. Let's see if he drew a follow-up play. I can't think of many things that could prevent us from attacking next turn. Drew Wall of Frost. Probably going to try to Divination here into a land for Nimbus. But first, let's just... Actually, yeah, let's Divination first in case we hit something that will let us attack better. Nope, just lands, but that's fine. We'll play one, and let's attack. Let's start attacking a Johnny. He can activate the Sentinel, which is fine. We're going to attack a Johnny with, I guess, just the Angel and the Squid. He's going to probably want to activate the Sentinel and block, but a Johnny will be at 6, so that should be fine. And then we can follow up with Nimbus of the Isles. And if he doesn't block, then a Johnny's very low loyalty. Yep, so he doesn't block, and then we'll play Nimbus of the Isles. And hopefully next turn we can kill a Johnny. Maybe chumping with the Bronze Sable this turn. That's a possibility. It's just not going to be useful once we have the Stormtide Leviathan down. You could also minus a Johnny just to get value out of it while it's still alive. Maybe play out some creatures and then minus a Johnny, but we have a plan for that with our Stormtide Leviathan. We would be happy if he executed on that game plan. Like I said, his life total is not very relevant until he goes ultimate with the Johnny. Yeah, I think we're going to chump with the Bronze Sable here. It's just not going to be useful once we play the Stormtide. Research Assistant is fine. Path Mage is fine because they won't be able to attack with the Leviathan anyway. Okay, so it looks like we've got this game pretty well locked down. We're going to attack a Johnny with Angel, Nimbus, and Squid, and then we're just going to slam our Stormtide Leviathan and hope he doesn't have an answer for it. Looks like a Johnny's dead. That's good, and it looks like we are blanking most of his creatures, which is also good. Splash. Let's yield. Might be a Void Snare or something of the like. Oh, Tyrant's Machine. So that can tap our Stormtide, but we have enough flyers that it really shouldn't be a concern. The Squid can also attack, notably. His Sentinel can attack, but we can start leaving back our Illusory Angel, which should be fine. He could start tapping it down, though. We could also leave back Angel plus Nimbus, which should work. Into the Void is also pretty good here. Let's see. I think let's go to combat and see what he taps. I don't think it's worth bouncing anything yet. He's going to tap our Leviathan, yeah. So the question is whether we want to attack with our Nimbus and Angel or not. We're definitely attacking with the Squid. If we attack with the Nimbus and the Angel, he can attack us back for 3. I really don't think that that's worth it. So I think we're just going to attack with the Squid, as awkward as it may seem here. He kind of has us in a lock where we can't do much attacking, but should be okay. We could also just attack with the Angel. That might have been right. Then he has to tap down the Nimbus. But no, I think we have to leave both up still. We'll just play out the Wall of Frost. And keep some lands in our hand, I think. Actually, I'll play a land just because we have divinations and stuff like that. And yeah, yield. Oh no, our Wall of Frost can't attack. That sucks. Yeah, this Tyrant's Machine is pretty good here in the late game. He's got 2 cards in hand. Hopefully none of them are answers. Yeah, he's going to loot. Try to dig for some answer. Relevantly, if the game comes down to milling, his looting should mean that we get ahead, even though we've divinationed a couple times. Really, if he loots next turn, then we should be in good shape. We also have Sign and Blood later to make him draw 2 if it comes to that. Another Into the Void. I think that means that we want to bounce the Sentinel and the Path Mage and just start beating him down. So yeah, let's do that. I want him to activate the Research Assistant, I think. Although it could have been correct to bounce the Assistant, but this makes him spend more mana. I don't think he can play both while still keeping the Tyrant's Machine up, so that's good. So he's going to tap our Leviathan, and we're going to attack him with a lot of stuff in the air. In the air and on the islands. He's at 16, still pretty high life total just because he was gaining a lot of life from Ajani. Clock could be relevant here if we go to a game 3. We're ahead a little bit, but with me doing the video, it can be kind of a concern. He's got a lot of mana, so he might, let's see, he's got 4, 8, 10, so he can, he can't quite play out both of the things we bounced and tap something with the machine, so that's good. Inferno Fist, what does that kill? It probably kills our Squid, but we'll see what he does with it. Looks like he's using it now. It kills our Carrion Crow, so that's fine. The Crow couldn't attack anyway with the 3/3 flyer in the air. Since he's at 16 and we have another Into the Void, we might just want to start attacking with our 4/4 and 3/3. That could be a consideration too, because that way we're probably winning the race. But honestly, we might just not need to. We might have the late game here. I think we do want to. Yeah, I think we want to Into the Void here and really put the pressure on him. And we won. Great. So yeah, check the link in the description, and I will see you guys for round 2. Alright, we're back for round 2. We won the die roll, so I think we're going to play first. We've seen what we think to be the only other blue deck at the table, so the other decks are likely going to be more aggressive. If we know the matchup really well, we might want to draw. This looks like a keep. It's got lands and spells. It's a little sketchy just because the Illusory Angel looks like 3-drop, but isn't really. But I think since we're on the play and we have the Path Mage and the Cursed Spirit into the Void, I think we should be able to make up some tempo with that. So I'll keep here. Let's just play our Swamp in case we draw Sign in Blood and pass.
In the basement.
There's a Cathar. It's probably aggressive white. We drew another Into the Void. That's okay. We do have a lot of 4-drops in this hand, but hopefully if we draw like another land, we'll be able to make up a lot of the tempo loss with our double Into the Voids. And I'm not too concerned about the card advantage because he's such an aggressive deck that really we're going to win a late game anyway. Research Assistant is a good draw here. I'm just hoping to draw a land next turn, but the Assistant will hold off some aggression. Raise the alarm, it looks like. Should be fine. We can block with our Assistant anyway. Nothing that can really attack through us yet. I'm not really keen on holding back spells for the Illusory Angel. I think we'll find a place to play it in the late game. Oppressive Raise is pretty decent. It lets him attack for 3 right now, but that's not a ton of damage. I think we should be fine. If he does play another 2-drop here, we're under some significant pressure. We'll maybe have to trade off with the Path Mage. So yeah, we'll take 4 here. If we don't draw a land next turn, we might be losing this one just because we don't have enough stuff to do. Yeah, Divination's not great. But I think we have to cast it. Try to draw a land. Drew a land, more expensive spells. A Wall of Frost would be good here, same with a Coral Barrier. Really, we're just looking for things to help us survive because we're going to survive the late game. If we survive until the late game, we'll probably win. Taking 5 here, it looks like. Going down to 10. We might just not really have enough tempo to come back in this game. We'll see. Juggernaut, yeah, that's a big concern. I think we just have to play something and hope to trade with it. He'll sacrifice his Cathar, and then we'll play another thing and try to trade. That seems like the plan. We could also Into the Void, try to get some tempo back, but it really doesn't do much. He just replays the Juggernaut, and we're in the same position that we were in the first place. So we really just have to hope that this blocking plan gets there. It's definitely possible that the hand wasn't a keep. Regardless of how it turned out, I actually think that we probably should have considered that a little bit more. Oppressive Raise, another one. Yeah, so these Oppressive Raise have been very good here. We're basically dead here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're actually dead here. Not basically. Let's take the damage, though. Okay, so that wasn't the strongest game for us, but I think we're pretty well set up to block against his deck. One important thing to note is that Wall of Frost cannot block Juggernaut because it cannot be blocked by walls, so we're going to have to find some other way to block his Juggernaut. He looks to be mono white aggression, which is pretty strong. If he has some Sanctified charges, that's pretty scary. So let's see what we want to take out here. Amphin Path Mage is just not very impressive. I like Witch's Familiar. Crippling Blight also kills a lot of his 1 toughness guys, so I think we'll bring that in. Sign in Blood does not seem very good for us. Nimbus of the Isles aren't great, but 3 toughness creatures are also pretty good. I'm going to bring in an Aeronaut Tinker or 2 and maybe take out a Nimbus. Gravedigger can be good against the aggressive decks when you're trading. And I think if we can get to a Stormtide Leviathan, we can really just shut him down. Although he does have Triplicate Spirits, so yeah, I think we're going to cut the Leviathan and go with the Nimbus of the Isles. If we establish enough of a late game, we'll be able to beat him without our Storm Tide anyway, because he's just so aggressive. This is kind of a surprisingly awkward matchup. The Sanctified Charge can really wreck us. We'd like to play first, yeah. But let's see how our hand is. This is, again, a pretty slow hand. We're on the play again, and we do have a Divination. This is a tough one. I think we have to mulligan this hand, just because it's too slow. And now that we know what our opponent is on, we really can't keep hands like that. Yeah, this hand is not better. We basically have to mulligan this one. This hand is pretty good for a 5-carder at least, so we'll keep this. Hopefully we can Crippling Blight like an Oresco Swiftclaw or something like that. Play a creature and then Gravedigger it back, try to get some value, recoup our mulligan. This hand is pretty well set up against an aggressive start. No 5-carder is really favored, I don't think, but if he plays an Oresco Swiftclaw here, I'm feeling pretty good. If he plays a Swiftclaw and we draw a creature, let's say. There's a Skirmisher, okay. Hopefully we draw one of our 2/3s or something like that. He uses a trick to get through it, and then we can Gravedigger it. Nope, no 2/3. I don't think I want a Crippling Blight here, just content with taking 2. If he has a Juggernaut, it could be a significant problem. 1 toughness? Nope. Still no. Yeah, this could be pretty bad for us. We might just be losing. We drew an Accursed Spirit, so that can trade off for something, and then we can Gravedigger it back. That's pretty nice. Next turn we can Gravedigger plus Crippling Blight. Accursed Spirit can be used to be pretty aggressive usually, but I think here it's just correct to trade it off with whatever we can. We could also Gravedigger, if he plays Juggernaut here, we could Gravedigger then Crippling Blight and trade the Gravedigger with the Juggernaut. That might be the correct line. I think we really have to trade the Accursed Spirit off here, even though he could have Juggernaut, and we would rather trade the Spirit for the Juggernaut. If he plays it now, then we have the information, but I think we still have to block. He really does look to be mono-white. Heliod's Pilgrim searching up an Oppressive Race. Yeah, this starts like this are just kind of tough for us to beat, especially on a multi-5. We'll see if we can get there, though. The Oppressive Race have been very good for him. Yep, there it is. And we're going to take a hit for 4 here. The annoying part is that we can't Gravedigger our thing back now. We drew a Witch's Familiar, which is pretty strong. I think we want to play that and a Crippling Blight, just to slow him down. Although, I guess we really don't need to play the Crippling Blight here. It really doesn't serve to do anything. I would like to be able to play it just to kind of regain some tempo, but there's really no creature that we could play it on that would really do anything significant. If you can remove our Witch's Familiar, we're still getting hit for a lot anyway. We're probably not winning if you can remove our Witch's Familiar. This looks like another Oppressive Raise, yeah. There it is. We'll yield, we have no plays. Take another 5, it's not looking great. And if we leave up 3 mana, then he can't really attack us, but we also can't really do anything else, so that's not really where we want to be. Razor for Griffin is okay. We can Crippling Blight something and play an Illusory Angel this turn, which is, I think, what we want to do. The question is what we want to Crippling Blight. I think it's just the Griffin, even though the Angel can block it. Hopefully he doesn't have another answer for our Illusory Angel, and we can kind of just sit back and have him not attack us. I'm going to leave up Ulcerate, actually. So yeah, hopefully we just kind of ward off his attacks with this Illusory Angel. Maybe he plays something something like a Juggernaut, but we can, pay 3 to block. He could start to get to the point where he's overwhelming us. He could also have a Sanctify charge, which will really just wreck us here. We kind of have to just hope he doesn't have that. 4 mana, looks like a Juggernaut. Marked by Honor. Okay. That's kind of problematic. I'm thinking we might just want to trade here and then Gravedigger. Either that or, keep up 3 mana. Oh, since he's attacking with everything, let's see. Let's do some math here. We can block the 2/2, take 6 and go to 2. We can also trade with the 4/4, or we can... Yeah, those are basically our 2 options. Neither are really great, but I think we have to trade with the 4/4 just because we need to keep our life up. So yeah, let's do that. Looks like he has a trick. Yeah, we're basically dead here. Our opponent has 0 cards in hand, but there's really nothing we can do. If we draw another land, we can keep up mana, but I think we're just going to be at too low of life to really do anything. Yeah, so we drew a land. I think we just have to pass with 6 mana up to block with our 2 guys and hope that's good enough. We're just going to be jumping with the Witch's Familiar. Then maybe next turn we can play Gravedigger and play Illusory Angel if we draw another land, and maybe that'll get there. Hopefully, we'll see. So yeah, we're going to be eating the Kinsbale Skirmisher with our Witch's Familiar, chumping the Kinsbale. Yeah, let's see. We're taking 2 here. We're basically dead. We have to pay 6 for these blockers. We drew a Wall of Frost. We can play that and leave up mana to chump, so I guess we're still alive technically here. That's pretty good. And we yield. He's just going to attack us with the 1/1 and hope we can't answer it, which we basically can't, but we'll see. If we draw a land here, we can still survive. We have Peel from Reality, so that's actually pretty good. We can peel our Witch's Familiar. Yeah, so I like that. What we're going to do here is we're going to Gravedigger our Illusory Angel, and then when he attacks us, we're going to peel our Familiar and the Griffin. Yeah, that's basically our plan. We don't have much else to do. Don't really have more options than that. We're basically dead to any cards here, but so yeah, let's execute on this. I think the Witch's Familiar is the correct thing to peel because then we can play it and the Illusory Angel next turn. Let's just hope he doesn't have any big follow-up plays. This looks significant. If it's a Juggernaut, we have to remember we can't block with the Wall of Frost, even though that's so tempting. Okay, so he's got another 2/2 flyer. That's fine, we can block it with the Angel if he doesn't have an answer for it. If he does, we have to accept that. He's convoking out a triplicate. So yeah, we're probably dead to this. Let's just see what we draw, and then basically we're going to scoop. Yep, we're basically dead here. no point in making him attack or anything. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to get the next video up when I can. Yeah. See you guys later. Bye.